Hello, my name is Matilde and I'm the resident tree, and I'm coming to you with this video because I have decided to do the 84 days of the artist way. I don't know if you ever heard about the 84 days. It is somewhat a challenge or a program that of course lasts for 12 weeks, 7 days a week, as planned and devised and organized and written by Julia Cameron, and she wrote The Artist Way. I've heard about The Artist Way for the first time following some videos about creativity by a lovely chap whose name is Colin Drucker. I will put all the links of his videos also, and the Facebook page, a Facebook group that is actually managing and organizing about whoever is doing the 84 days. Because I wanted to challenge myself again in a creative way. I've done a couple of years ago, because a friend of mine challenged me into my own creativity. I already planned and did some videos about what does creativity means, what being an artist means, and the difference between being an artist or making art. And if artists should have or not have a manifesto. At that time, I remember this friend of mine, he gave me an X amount of projects to do, and then I presented them to him, and what we came up with was like a definition that I am more of a concept designer. I like design in a broader sense, not as in just designing. And of course I like concepts as in the conceptual and contemporary work. And some kind of art. At the same time, though, I do know that I love writing, and that was my very first medium of expressing myself. So I thought I'm actually ready to go back to do some writing. Somehow, since I've been writing a lot together with doing photography, and I stopped about 9 years ago, almost. Was July 2008. I've stopped for various reasons, one of them being that I moved over here to the UK. So I have decided that now my holiday from art is finished, and I want to go back in contact with my creative part. For the ones who don't know me, I am also a counselor or a psychotherapist, depending on where you're watching this video from. I consider myself an eclectic therapist, and I like to use art and working with the creative inner child in order to heal trauma. So a lot of these videos probably, and also my process, will involve emotional healing, emotional therapy, trying to find a depth and a certain warmth within myself. Then of course I can transmit to other people. Why I've chosen also the 84 days is because, as probably if you've watched some of my other videos about journaling, you know that I do my journal, and I also use at times tarot cards in order to use them as a mean of therapeutic reading, which is okay, but I found that method, as much as it was a way for me to ground myself, didn't actually allow me to work on a more creative and therapeutic way. So what I did, I followed again Julia Cameron's suggestions, and I got myself, to be honest, I've got to admit I've actually been cheating, because I've started writing the morning pages as requested by Julia Cameron on the 23rd of December. But I've started writing them because I wanted to see if it was something that actually was working for me. So what I got myself, I got a journal notebook, and a pen, and Julia asks you to write 3 pages of long writing, so no computers, no tablets, nor dictating or anything, proper writing. 3 pages every day. First thing in the morning, you grab your coffee, you sit down, and you just write 3 pages. Whatever stream of consciousness, whatever froth you have in your head, whatever brain dump you want to do, this is what you do. You can just write anything. There is no good way to do it. There is no bad way to do it. You just write down stuff. And if you don't know what to write, you just write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write, I don't know what to write. The main aim is, first of all, to slow your brain and your thinking process, because at times we've got so much stuff when we wake up that we can't concentrate. So whatever it is, the extra stuff that is bubbling in our head, it goes on paper. Of course, we do tap at a certain point after a while in our subconscious and possibly unconscious, even the deepest parts, and you can recognize something from the collective unconscious, if you go from a Jungian perspective, coming up in your writing. But that frees the mind to actually be more creative. I found, and I'm a writer, meaning that I write a lot. I found that the first days filling up the 3 pages was really difficult. And again, I've been cheating a bit, because maybe I was doing like half a page in the morning, and then I was going to work, and then coming back I was filling it in. But today I've actually finished filling up 72 pages. So I've actually filled up the whole of the journal, which to me is from the 23rd of December. It's been quite a lot, and I've written the last days. I've written way more than 3 pages, because I've recognized that I had some ideas for some other short stories and stuff to write. So this is what went on here. Or I've been watching some, I don't know, videos about creativity, or stuff about the subconscious and the unconscious. Or yesterday I was following this conference. It was like a video introduction online on YouTube about Stoicism and philosophy, which is something. I'm also a practicing Buddhist and a chaplain. So Buddhism, Stoicism, humanistic perspective, and as a therapist also perspective, it fitted so well, and it just sort of like ticked a load of other boxes that I thought were left unticked, and they were sort of like I just needed to clarify my head better. So I found this extremely interesting. On top of this, I've started already doing some of the exercises that Julia Cameron asks you to do. So the whole project of the 84 days is every day 3 pages of long writing, as I said. Then she asks you on a weekly basis to read more. For this perspective, I've actually bought myself Murakami, the colorless Sakura Tazaki, which I'm reading now. So weekly pages. Then there is a weekly date, so to take us on a date. And on a weekly basis, Julia gives some advice, some exercises to do. One of the exercises to do this week was, yes. So first things first, was asking to write a contract and sign a contract about us doing the 84 days. Weirdly enough, I've written the contract about, was it Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. Today's Sunday. It took me Sunday today to actually sit down and sign the contract and put a date as starting on the 15th 01. So my 3 pages starts from today, even though I've been doing some of the exercises before that. And then was try to work on our negative beliefs about what being an artist. And so loads of stuff came out from my family. One of the things that I can share with you is that in our family was, you should never be too happy because happiness brings tears. So if you can't be too happy, and being an artist makes you happy, well, you can't do that. There are lots of other stuff that came up as in negative beliefs. Writing the opposite of what the negative beliefs are, and working on the inner monster and the inner devils. And so I've actually managed to do some little bit of drawing. I don't know if you can see a little bit of drawing what my demons are, you know, the people who have been going to conservatorium, have studied art, so of course they allegedly should know more or better than me, or people who have already published, people who write, use loads of words, and they have to, I don't know, look for the perfect word. People who try to block your creativity in boxes. You should be doing this, so that's just not for me. You should. So this is some of the exercises that I've been doing. So follow up the fact of recognizing what your demons and what your monsters are. She asks to write a letter to the, let's call it editor, whoever, sort of like a generic person, like the editor who allegedly has been listening more to the critique than actually to ourselves as artists. So this is what I did, and it has to be a whinging and moaning letter, a bit of like a child having a tantrum. So really letting go and says, you know, this person said to me, I don't know, my teacher when I was at primary school in the north of Italy, she told me that I should never use foreign words to write, even though these foreign words were words that were normally used in my family, and she mocked me in front of the whole class. And I think that just for the simple fact that I'm talking saying it, and I still remember perfectly well the what happened that day, and I am talking, I must have been 4th class, so I don't know, about 10 years or 10 years old. I still remember exactly how ashamed I felt, and also ashamed of the whole of my family, and everybody was laughing, all the kids, etc. That sort of like gave me a stamp or a mark in my artistic. So anyway, this is the letter. Weird enough, I posted it and I forgot to put a stamp, but I received the letter anyway back, which, thank you very much to the British Postal Service. I've actually received a letter anyway, which is really kind of them. So I'm gonna keep the letter, of course. So this is basically it. So 84 days, 12 weeks, quite a long time, and I hope also this video doesn't become too long, because I wrote a couple of things that I wanted to say. Yes, a very quick thing. One of the what I've noticed while I'm writing the 3 pages, whether it is in the morning, the afternoon, etc., even though the ones in the morning work way better psychologically and emotionally than the ones when you do it in the afternoon, etc., I noticed that, or when I'm reading, I noticed that my emotions, my mind, my thoughts, and most of the times followed by my hands, go straight on the phone. So and Facebook, Instagram, if I got any likes or emails for work, they pop up, and I feel that I need first to answer them, that I should be finishing off my self-care work. So I have decided that in order to work on my concentration, I want to read more, and even if it is just half an hour, just read for half an hour, because I used to devour books, but I actually haven't read a novel from beginning to end in a very long time, because most of the time I'm reading for work, so I'm skipping chapters, so I'm going straight to the exercises instead of actually having the pleasure of being idle and read just for the pure pleasure of reading. But so this is a decision that I have made, and in order to also work on my concentration, you see, I decided that I want to learn a poem by heart. As when I was at school 35 years ago, 40 years ago, at school, we used to learn poems by heart. I still remember them, but I haven't actually trained my mind to learn stuff by heart anymore. So I think that this is an important thing for me, and because of course English is not my mother tongue, I've decided to learn a poem in Italian, which is my mother tongue. I mean, just chose something from Francesco Petrarca just because I thought it's high poetry, and it is music to my ears, and I want to go back in touch with that kind of literature. And I'm gonna learn, of course, something also in English. So I'll let you know how this goes in next videos. I don't know if I'm going to post the videos regularly. I don't know if I'm going to write regularly. The only thing that I can tell you is that I am going to be honest with you. That's the only promise that I can make. And as the Stoics would say, I can't control how you react to this video and to my process, but what is important for me is that I do the whole process to the best of my abilities and how I can. So I hope I can get back in touch with you at least once a week to keep you updated on the poetry learning and the other exercise that I should do, and my date with myself on an artistic basis. And if by any chance you want to do the 84 days of the artist way, please let me know in the information down below. Just follow, just like my Facebook page if you want to, or the Instagram. I tend to post every day both on Instagram and on Facebook. I do have a Twitter account, just more because I think society requires to have a Twitter account, but I normally post stuff that I would normally post on Instagram and Facebook anyway. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope this has not been too tedious and too long, but it was important for me to explain certain stuff from the very beginning and in the very first video. Thank you for watching.